All right. All right. Welcome, everyone, to how to be a master lister. This is one of the classes I teach in the listing mastery course, which I taught last year, and I think I taught it in first quarter. So if you go back to the YouTube page, you go under Grow Your Business, you will find a listing mastery class. I think it was 3 classes. And in that listing mastery, we teach this one thing, but I thought it's important that I do it by itself so that everybody learns to master how to do a CMA for a client. Now, we don't just do CMAs or comparative market analysis just when we go on a listing appointment. People think that's the only way they use them. But if you're seller prospecting and cold calling and working with trying to get seller appointments, this is a fabulous tool in which you can mail this out to a seller to their home to begin a conversation. So if they're not ready to sell now, but they'd love to have a free market analysis of their home's value, this is what we're doing here. It is no different than when you go on a listing appointment. Okay, so when you go on a listing appointment, there are 3 things you have to take with you. Does anyone want to guess what those 3 sections are? When you go on a listing appointment, there are 3 things to take with you.
Contract.
Contracts, right. Bring the listing agreement, right? Your disclosures and your listing agreement, right? That's number 3. Number 2 is what we're doing right here, right? The cloud CMA, number 2. And number 1 is your beautiful little listing book. And all of you have a PDF of your listing book. And if you want to have them printed, you can have Zach order those for you at Do You Copy. They're very cheap to do. They're about a little under $3 each. If you want to print them yourself, that's fine too. But this thing right here, this cloud CMA, you can either use one of our spiral binding machines in either the Encino or Sherman Oaks office. We have spiral machines there. And you can put this in the spiral, real pretty clear cover with a back. Or you can put it in any kind of a report folder you wish. Some people put them in 3-ring binders. It doesn't matter as long as it looks professional. Okay, so the finished product PDF is what we're going to be working on today. And you'll notice that all of you do have a listing book that might look like this. It might look a little different. But what we want this to do is this matches your listing book. So for those of you who don't have a listing book, please make sure you get one from Zach or Whitney. And this matches the cover of your listing book. All right. So we're not going to get into listing presentation today. That's something we're going to do in our September series. But while we are in the listing appointment and we've completed the tour of the home, and then we've completed our listing presentation, the things we're going to do for that client, that's the listing book. We then move over to, now let's take a look at the numbers for your house, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. And that's where we come in here. Okay, that's where this begins. It's after the tour and after you've spent the 10 minutes telling the seller all the awesome things you're going to do for them based on the listing book. Then you move to this, which is the comparative market analysis. So when you come professional and you come prepared, you are going to get that listing because you look like a pro. You know, it's one thing to know something. It's a second thing to know and look the part. So it's very important that as you do your journey in this business, you learn how to do this. And the more of these you do, the better you're going to get at it. Okay. So is everybody ready? We're going to jump in. I'm going to start sharing my screen. Okay. Now I know that all of you use different MLSs. So for those of you who are in ChrisNet MLS, you're going to be very familiar with the screen I'm showing. For those of you who are in Claw, that's okay. Claw works just the same way, okay? We're just going to go through the criteria. There's a cloud CMA link in Claw, just like there's a cloud CMA link in ChrisNet, okay? So here we go. I'm going to now start sharing the screen. There we go. And bear with me. I think you'll be able to see my screen shortly. And I'm going to go into Chrome on this. So I have Edge open on Zoom. I'm going to go into Chrome. Everybody can see my screen, I hope. All right. Again, it doesn't matter which MLS. I'm going to explain where some of the reports are in Claw. I'm a member of both, of course, but I tend to use ChrisNet. Everyone has their own preference on which MLS they like better. Okay, I've been using both for 20 years, so. All right, here we go. We are in the MLS. Okay, I'm going to give you the subject property. I wanted to mix it up a little bit for all of you because I want to show you a hard one, okay? So the subject property we're going to be working on today is 6956 Corbin in Reseda, okay? 6956 Corbin in Reseda. And if you look at the subject property MLS sheet, this property obviously sold a while ago. We're just going to use it, sold in 4 days. The realtor from Pinnacle Estate Properties, he misrepresented the square footage on the MLS, all right? This house is actually just under 1,100 square feet, but if you look at the subject property MLS, he writes 1,560 square feet because there's a 475 square foot, like, step down family room, but it doesn't show it's permitted. So I'm using this one to trick you a little bit because the house is actually 1,560, but only 1,085 is permitted according to the assessor. This is very important. When you go on a listing appointment, you need to look up the assessor's square footage. And when you're in the MLS, you need to represent the assessor's square footage or you can get a violation. You can also talk about the unpermitted stuff in the words, in the agent remarks, but this house is not 1,560 square feet, it's 1,085, okay? So, but we're gonna price it out at 1,560 square feet. That's called perceived value, okay? So here I am, here I go. I'm gonna go search residential detail. And in CLAW, it's exactly the same. It's search residential detail. I am going to, for the purposes of this class, I am only gonna be looking at active, under contract, pending, and closed, all right? Many of you I know who do CMAs like to use the actives. That's cool. Actives are always good to see what's on the market right now in their area. I just don't include them in my CMA because they haven't sold, so the appraiser won't use them either. I like to only use active, under contract, pending, and closed. Okay, this is a single family residence, so I'm going to choose single family. It is not a condo. And this is in Reseda. And for those of you who know where Corbin is in Reseda, it's on the border of multiple areas. It's got Tarzana, it's got Winnetka right around it. So you got to be really careful when you are in a city in the flats where there's multiple zip codes all around. So I am going to look for active, pending, and closed. I'm going to look for single family. And I'm going to do a map search. And in CLAW, there's a map search there for you as well. So I'm going to type in the property address, 6950 Corbin.
Ron, I have a question real quick.
Right, John.
I know typically when you do comps for closed, you do 6 months, but with this market moving so fast, do you do a shorter time period or you still just keep it 6 months?
Awesome question, Sean. I'm going to answer that in just a moment. All right. I'm going to get to the 180 days. Thank you. That's a great question. All right. There's my address. See it? I'm going to grab it. Okay. Now, over here on the close time, Sean just asked, should we be using 6 months or because the market's moving so fast, should we be using 3 months? That's a great question. The appraisers typically will go 3 to 6, depending on what they can find. The norm should be 6 months because in many cases you won't have enough comps if you don't go back 6 months. You'll see even here we don't have enough comps when I do this exercise, okay? So I'm going to use 6 months or 180 days as the normal criteria, okay? Because we need to have enough, because if there aren't enough sales, then the appraiser is not going to be able to justify the sales price. So 6 months is the norm. And here's the other trigger right here, the distance. See the distance? Now, if you're in the flats of the San Fernando Valley, or if you're in the flats of the West Side, Culver City, all that, if you're in a flat area where there's a lot of development going out straight, and you're not in the hills, half a mile is fine. In fact, more than fine. But sometimes there's not enough comps in a half a mile and you have to go a mile. But a mile, as you're going to see in a moment, in this case, is too far. Okay, I'll get to that in a minute. So I'm going to show you the difference. And this is an art and science project, okay? You start with the science and then you put in the creativity. So the science is active, pending, close, active, under contract, pending, close, single family, 6 months. We need to pick out whether we're going to go a half a mile or a mile. And there's one more criteria that's critical. Anybody want to know what that is? What's one more thing? I just told you this house is 1,560 square feet built. So I want to see houses that are around the same square footage. So what square footage range should I do? Anybody?
20% above and 20% below.
Yeah, that's a good rule of thumb. I like to round it up, so I don't do too much math in my head. So I'm going to, this is a 1,560 square foot house. I'm going to go 1,400 to 1,700. I could go 13 to 18, but I want to stay as tight as I can. If I don't see enough comps, I'll push it out a little bit, like go 13 to 18, okay? But I want to get comps that are really similar to the 1,560, all right? All right, so I'm going to go 14 to 17, see if I get enough. Now, I just did 1 mile, and now I'm going to put the zip code for Reseda in here. You don't have to do this, folks. Oh, I think I'm erroring out. Hold on. Let me go back. Looks like the system's erroring out. Give me a sec. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. All right. Notice that when I do 1 mile, guys, I get 23 matches. You see that at the bottom left? I get 23. That's a lot. That's a little too much. But the reason I would look at the 23 is just to kind of get an idea, okay? And if I had not put the zip code in, I'll get more than 23, okay? I'll get everything, Woodland Hills, West Hills, Tarzana, I'll get Winnetka, I'll get a ton. So I want to keep in my 91335 zip code, okay? Because that one skews a little lower. So I don't want to mix it up with Tarzana and Winnetka and West Hills.
I have another question about zip code.
I'm sorry?
What if they're, I have a question about the zip code. What if they're like bordering each other, like you're butted up against the next zip code and it's with a half mile? Can you still use that or no?
Yeah, you can use the zip code. You can take it. There's a lot of, this one does border up. Watch, when I show you the 23, even when I restrict the zip code, I'm still going to get too many. And I'll show you what happens when I don't restrict the zip code. See how they're already pulling these Tarzanas in that shouldn't be coming in? They're not in that zip. It's already pulling these Tarzanas in. If I don't put a zip code in, I'll get even more that I don't want. Okay, I'll get even more that I don't want. So if I don't put a zip code in, because this one borders a lot of zip codes, this particular house on Corbin borders a lot of zip codes. I get 38 matches. See that, guys? That's too much. And I'm going to go way out into different areas, and I don't want to do that. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. Trying to move my screen so you guys can see what I'm doing here. Let me move around my thing. Okay, 38 matches is too many matches for this small of a square footage range. Okay, now I'm going to get stuff in the 8s and 9s. Not going to happen. Okay, so it's too far out, or it's spreading me too far. So in this case, 1 mile's a little far unless I restrict it to 91335, which I should do. I still get a lot of comps, which is fine. And then I can go in and I can pick my sweet spot of which comps are going to be most appropriate. So as I go in, you'll see, and I'm trying to move my window so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right. If you go up here, I can sort by square foot. I can sort by price, right? I can sort by price per square foot, and I can get really close to the square footage of this property. But you'll notice I've got these Tarzanas in here, so I would be unclicking those. I don't want to look at those Tarzana homes. It just threw those in. So I'm going to go in a little tighter, okay? I'm going to go in a little tighter. I'm going to go a half a mile. I want to tighten this up a little, okay? Now I only get 7 matches, all right? Now I only get 7 matches. And as you look at the matches, the first thing you want to do is sort by list price. I have 7 matches. That's okay. You know, 10 would be ideal, but 7's cool. So I've got 10 matches. And now one of them jumps out right away at me as being a problem. Which one is that?
The auto sold.
Which one? Repeat that.
The auto sold.
No. Which one, based on price? Which one of these?
830.
Thank you, Ashley. The 830 doesn't work. You see that? The 830 is not going to work. And it's an anomaly. It's not even a nice house. I hope it's not your house. The 830 doesn't work on Tampa, okay? It does, one of these things is not like the other, right? The 830 doesn't work. So when you're looking at your results, it's really important. I'm not going to go through this part of the exercise with you because it'll take us too long, but you're actually going to click into every single one of the comps and figure out which ones appear to be the most similar. and come up with the most logical conclusion you can. But the 830 is so far out, it's not making sense, okay? It's like $125 a foot more, and it's only a half a mile out in the ZIP. So that one doesn't make any sense. Now, what if I had had a comp in the 500s? I would do the same thing. It's too far out. So you want to remove your outliers, okay? Your ultra low and your ultra high, you need to remove them on the square footage, okay? Super, super important. That's not going to serve you, and an appraiser is not going to look at that either. They're going to do a cost basis adjustment, all right? And they have software for that. You don't. So you definitely want to take things that are completely out in the extreme and remove them from the results. Is everybody clear?
Yes.
Okay. Any other questions on that? I want to make sure you understand that if you've got something that's completely outrageous compared to the comps that you have. Now, when we're in south of the boulevard, or we're in Beverly Hills, Bel Air, Beverly Glen, Mulholland, Malibu, it's different. All right. We're not talking about that today. Today is an entry-level class in looking at comps, not how to do a sophisticated, complex analysis for a house that only has, 2 comps within a 10-mile radius. We are only looking at simple, easy house in the flats type of comp. So the 830 is not going to be used in my CMA, okay? Because it's an outlier. I'll keep it. I'll hold on to it in case the client asks about it, but I'm not going to put it in the CMA. Everybody clear? I'm going to move on. Okay, back to the criteria. And again, I could have gone a mile out and just chose the Resitas and removed the Tarzanas. You can do that too. The more comps that support the number, the better. Again, the more comps that support the number, the better. Remember, when you're doing a CMA, you have already made your jury verdict on where you think the pricing is after studying. Then you have to prove your point with your comps. So it's like an attorney. You're trying to prove a point with your closing argument. So all of your statements have to support what you're trying to do. All right. So first you're going to research each one, figure out where the middle is, and then you're going to go ahead and try to find the comps to support that. Okay. 2 ways to do that: price per square foot or general pricing, what they call home pricing. So where else can I tighten this up if I want to tighten this up? Sean said we could say, let's go back only 3 months, right? You can do that. Go back 90 days. All right. So we only have 1 less match. You can do that. Totally fine. So your levers are days back. Okay. Number 1, days back. Number 2, miles out. Number 3, living area. Is everybody clear? Those are your 3 levers. Number 1, days back. Number 2, miles out. Number 3, living area, tightening. Those are where you can play. Those 3 little levers. Don't play in any other levers. Of course, the zip code goes without saying, okay? The zip code goes without saying. All right, so we're a half a mile out. We're in the zip code. We're 6 months back, and we're going 13 to 1,700, trying to hone in on this 1,560 square foot house, okay? All right, now let's go back to the results. Let's assume, other than this $830,000 home, and again, you've already looked at all the pictures. You've already determined, yeah, these houses are very similar, but there's also a pattern in the price per square foot. You see that, guys? Without that outlier in there, your price per square foot's in the mid 4s, okay, on average. So that's important to remember. And this house is only a 3-bedroom, 1-bath house, and you can see it right in the middle. It did sell, so I'm going to remove it for the choices, okay? All right, here we go. Once we choose the houses we want, we're ready to go to build our CMA, okay? And again, if we had gone out a mile, there would have been 23 houses. That's totally fine. And our pricing would have been slightly different. If we go a half a mile, our pricing is going to be slightly tighter. All right, it's an art project. You have to look at both so you can come up with a number that's the median, okay? So this is where you spend most of your time. The cloud CMA is only 10 minutes. This is where you spend all your time. How long should you spend working on a comp? Anybody? How long should you spend in this world right here?
No more than 2 hours.
Yeah, about 2 hours. Yeah, an hour to two. If you've really been doing it for years, it'll take you about 45 minutes. This is not a 10-minute project. The better you get at it, the faster you will do this, right? The better you get at it, you'll be able to do this in your head. You won't have to do this process. You'll go, oh, I know that street. That house is going to sell for this. And you're just trying to prove the point to yourself right here, right? Right here. Now, let's pull this out a mile and let's see what happens here. And let's tighten up the square footage. I'm going to leave the square footage alone. Let's look at these 23. All right. So if everybody can see my screen, and I'm going to select everything except this Tarzana is not going to get selected. And these Tarzanas are not going to get selected. I'm going to unselect them. And I'm going to get rid of this 830 on Tampa and this 820 on Hart. And I should get rid of the 810 on Claire because that's a very different street than Corbin. But I'm just, for the purpose of this exercise, I'm going to keep all these and I'm going to get rid of the 599 on Schoolcraft. Okay. So I took out my ultra high and my ultra low, and now I've got these remaining comps. So again, play with it both ways, and you're going to see the price per square foot is going to be very similar. It's going to be in that mid fours to high fours. So I now went a mile out, a mile. Okay. So I want you to play with it both ways. But again, an appraiser is not going to go out a mile if he can find comps within a half a mile. Got it? Appraiser's not going to go a whole mile. Do you know how many big signals a mile is? That's a lot. So the appraisers usually go to the next main big street. So again, a half a mile is extremely safe. A mile is a little bit of a stretch, and we try not to use a mile unless you need to. All right. So I'm going to bring that back, and now we're ready. So once we've determined those comps, we go to our results. And we're ready. Okay. Again, I'm going to select all except that one that's too high. All right. Now I'm ready to start to build my cloud CMA. All right. Again, spend all the time in the MLS first. Even if you have to write the MLS numbers down on a piece of paper and then just go back and uncheck everything but those, you really want to make sure that you're honing in as tight as you can on the square footage. I'm going to undo Corbin right there. All right, because that's our subject property. All right, we're now ready. The next step, after you've determined which results you want to use, is to print the quick CMA. If you are in ChrisNet, it is called Quick CMA. If you are in Claw MLS, it is called CMA Stats. Okay, if you're in Claw MLS, it is called CMA Stats. And it's up at the upper right under Reports in Claw. Here in ChrisNet, it's down here under a weird place you'd never think. It's called Print. See it right there? Print. Again, if you are in Claw, the MLS, it's in the upper right. The upper right, it's called Reports Stats. All right, it's the same report. Here we go. I go to Print. I choose Quick CMA. Do you guys see that? Quick CMA. All right, step one, go to Print, choose Quick CMA. If you're in Claw, you're going to go to the upper right of your screen where it says Reports, and you're going to go to CMA Stats, STATS. All right. And now we are going to print to PDF. And in CMA Stats, you're going to download the PDF. Here we go. This is super important. Yes?
I'm sorry, Veronica. Where was the CMA Stats at the top again?
Okay, upper right. You see up at the top where it says Share on Claw? There's a Reports tab up there.
Oh,
You'll see
up on
Stats, CMA Stats. You see that?
Well, now
CMA
I'm looking at your
Stats.
quick CMA report right here. I don't see it anymore.
Quick CMA is in ChrisNet. Are you in Claw or ChrisNet?
I'm in ChrisNet.
Okay, I'll go back again, show you where it is again.
Thank you.
Okay, here's your results. You're looking at the choices that you made. Here are the results. Down here on the left, next to the blue bars, see the word print?
Right,
Hit print. Choose.
yeah.
Quick CMA. This is no different than when you guys are sending stuff to your clients. If you're printing a report to send to your clients, right? You've got your customer full, your
Thank you,
customer
Peter.
short, the
Let
same
me show
place
you
that you're
numbers
saving
before we get
PDFs for your
started,
client.
and then I'm also gonna need
Oh,
your
okay, I
checking
thought you
information.
said
You have
the
your
stats,
checkbook
something
with you?
about stats, but you were saying in some, in the claw. Okay.
Yeah,
that's where
in
I'm-
claw, it's called
Okay,
stat.
thank you.
All right,
Okay,
is
thank
everybody found it in their
Gotcha.
MLSs?
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Quick CMA and ChrisNet, stats in claw. Here we go. So then we click print to PDF. If you're in claw, you're going to download the PDF. Put that on your desktop. It's one of the pieces of this thing. Okay. So you're going to save this to your desktop. And in the chat box, I put it there. I called it quick CMA half a mile. Okay. All right. We're going to look at this now. This is super important. This is going to be part of our cute little package we're going to put together. All right. So this is one of the very important pieces. I'm going to go down a little bit on here. I know we don't have a lot of comps. We only have one pending on Tunney, and then we have 4 closings. Can everybody tell me what the median of this house is? What's the median price of homes similar to this in square footage?
729?
Are you looking at the quick CMA that I'm looking at on the screen? The one I have shared?
Yes.
Oh,
What's the median
672.
price?
72.5.
Say that again?
672.5.
Thank you. $672,500 is the median price for this home. What's the average square footage of the homes we comped out? What's the median square footage of the homes we comped out? See it
It's
right, all on the bottom, guys. See it?
1475.
Thank you. The bottom line here tells the whole story. It does the math for you. Okay. Now remember, this house is only a 3+1. All right. But the average square footage of the houses we comped out was 1475. That's fine. We didn't have any other 1560s. You see, we have only one 1550 on Kittredge. Okay. So this is totally fine. This is really close. It's not even, it's, 90 square feet off the median. This is great. Okay. So this is very tight. The square footages are nice. Now, if the median square footage was 1800, what's wrong with my CMA? I've got to go back to the criteria and tighten it up. Do you understand? If my median square footage is too high or too low, I got to go back to my criteria and tighten that up. I need my median square footage to match what this house is. All right. Just want to make sure everybody's clear. All right. My median square footage has to match what this house is or be very, very close. In this case, it's really close. We've only got one house that's similar in size to this home. Most of these houses on this track are in a high 1,400 square foot range. Now, what's the price per square foot on the median? What's the median price per square foot?
444. 444.
That's right. That's right. 444. All right. So when you're doing this, I talk about it being art and science because you kind of want to back check yourself multiple ways. Would someone like to get a calculator out and type 1,560 times 444? Tell me what price you get. 1,560 times 444.
692.64.
Okay, so the calculator says this house should be 692,000 average because it's a little bigger, right? So that's how you kind of back check yourself. Okay, so CMA is telling me the median 672, but the house is really more like 692 according to price per square foot. What do I do? What do I do? This is a very important difference in the way agents comp houses, okay? And there's no right or wrong way. I just want to give you this fundamental difference in how agents comp houses. Some agents will only comp a house by the square foot. Some agents will only comp a house by the comps, just like what we're doing here, by the comps, the way an appraiser will do it. The reason there's a fundamental difference is, remember, folks, the dirt is worth 30% of the value of the home. That's why I don't do a straight price per square foot evaluation unless I'm really like in the estate section of south of the boulevard in the canyon. The reason for that is if you just use price per square foot, it's going to be a little off because the value of a home has the dirt included. So that price per square foot is including the dirt. I don't want to include the dirt. Okay. I want to make this just about the home. Does everybody understand that fundamental difference? I got this home that's 1,560 square feet, but the price per square foot is inclusive of the land. So both ways are okay. I just like to look at both. Okay. So doing it straight with comps, I'm getting 672 because my comp average is lower. Okay. If you go up to that 1,550 square foot home, you see that one where it said maximum square footage, 1,550, the house on Kittredge, right? That house sold for $685. You see that one on Kittredge? Sold for $685. All right. So a little closer to that 692. So I don't like to use price per square foot unless I'm trying to backtrack and figure out another way to look at the home. Okay. So if, let's say, a house should be worth more because you walk in and it's like, wow, it's amazing, but all the comps are lower, then you look at the price per square foot and apply the average price per square foot to the square footage of the home. It's always going to come out higher when you do price per square foot. Okay. So I prefer that all of you guys use the comps rather than trying to calculate price per square foot. Just be aware of the price per square foot because it does matter. It does matter. All right. Any questions?
I have a question. Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
What happens if everything in the house is right? Square footage matches, but what if our house had a larger lot than all of these other ones?
Absolutely. So that's where you have to create variables, right? The lot size, you have to do what is called a cost basis adjustment. That is where the art comes in. That's the art of the science. Okay. So see the house on Hart that sold for 714 in 5 days. It's a smaller house. It sold for $714,000, right? Well, it's a much bigger lot. It's a 600 square foot more lot. It might even be a remodel. I have to go look at the pictures in a moment, but that's where you have to play with the art. Okay. The art versus the science. This is the science. This piece of paper is science. The art is where you have to now start looking. See, the average lot size was 6,600. Okay. So if someone has an 8,000 lot, of course the median for their home is going to be higher than 672. Do you understand?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay. So this is where, if you're in the mentor program, you do not do this by yourself. You sit, you print this out for your mentor, and you guys look at it together until you come up with what the right number is going to be that you're going to present. If you're graduated from mentorship and you're an experienced agent, this is where art and science come together. Listen, I get phone calls every single day from people that have been in the business for 20 years. Hey, can you take a look at my comps? I'm having a hard time with this. That's fine. We all have to sit there and stare at it for a while until we come up with a number that's reasonable, that makes sense. If you are in the mentor program, your mentor will do that for you, okay? But if you're not in the mentor program and you graduated, you can always call me and I'll help you on the phone, comp a house out, okay? But I won't do it for you unless you show me this, okay? You need to send me this first so I can take a look at it and have a conversation. All right, we're gonna stop for one moment before we move on, because now we got to keep going. We don't want to run out of time. Any questions?
I have one quick question.
Yes.
Why I know active listings don't determine the value, but why don't you use them for
Great
price?
question. Many people use them, Sean. You're welcome to use them. I don't like to use them for the last 20 years that I've been, in this business, is because clients get their heads wrapped up thinking their house is worth that, because the actives are typically much higher. So for example, if I go back, and I will look at the actives, I'm not going to look at them, but what I'm presenting to the client, watch, if I bring the actives in a half mile, I'm going to go back to criteria. and I'm going to bring in the actives. I'm going to get rid of this for one moment. I always look at the actives. Of course I do. All right. So I'm looking at the actives. I've got nothing right now in a half mile. So let's pull out a mile, see if we got anything on the market in a mile. Right now, there's nothing on the market in that square footage range. All right. I can play with it. Say, okay, let me find some smaller houses. Is anything on the market? There's 2 on the market right now. I'm going to humor myself. I'm going to go in. There's 2 on the market. One on Keswick for $669. It's a 3+1, and one on Bothwell for $675. It's a 3+1. Okay. These 2 houses are on the market right now. How long have they been out? Let's take a look. Let's look at the days on market here. 1 day and 4 days. Okay. So these are good. In this case, these are good because I'm an attorney. I already know what my answer is, right? I'm just helping you guys go to the proving the point. These 2 are right in line with what this Corbin house should be priced at. So in this case, these might work for me. But if you're really struggling with pricing, you're going to want to be careful, because if the actives are out of control high, the client's going to just latch onto those, and they will not. They're like a dog with a bone. They're not going to let go of those actives. Do you understand? Well, look at this one. This one's on the market for $849. So you've got to be very careful when you use actives. Okay. The reason most top agents will use actives is to say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what your competition is on the market right now. And you want to look better than your competition. So you're more attractive than your competition. It's the only reason you use actives. Actives are completely unproven, scientifically unproven. And the appraiser will not even look at them. They won't even look at them. Do you know that the appraisers don't even look at the pendings, even though they will if you ask them to? Okay. The appraisers don't even look at the pendings. They only look at the closed. Okay. So the bank appraiser doesn't care about the actives, and he doesn't want to see them. So they don't do a lot, but a lot of people use them. They use them as a strategy. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is what your competition is. So you're going to want to look better than your competition, right? Now, if there's an active that's been out there for 150 days, that will work to your advantage. If there's an active that's only been out a couple of days, that will not work to your advantage because it's unproven. We don't know what's going on. But if something's been out there 50 days, 60 days, 100 days, and it's overpriced, sure, you can use the active. All right? Does it make sense? Okay. So I try to be very careful about actives. They can bite you really hard if the client latches onto it. All right. So let's go back to where we were. All right. So we did our little results. We looked at our results. We scrutinized our results. We studied our results. We came up with the properties that are going to prove the point that we already want to make, right? And we then went into print mode. We went into the results. We printed our quick CMA. And we printed our CMA stats if you're in CLAW. All right, now we're ready to go on to cloud. Is everybody ready? Okay. So from the screen where we were. Sorry, I've got to move this again. All right. So from the results, we were in our quick CMA. We chose everything except that $830,000 home. We went to the print screen and we clicked on quick CMA. We saved it to our desktop, right? Okay, as soon as we're done with that, we want to go back to results. Again, we want to go back to results. All right. So as soon as you've printed your quick CMA, saved it to your desktop, or your stats in CLAW, saved it to your desktop. Now I want you to go back to your results. All right. Now we're ready for cloud CMA. Okay. Here we go. Everybody see it right there? Blue bar. If you're in CLAW, cloud CMA, I think is on the bottom. Anybody who's in CLAW right now looking for the cloud CMA link? Any CLAW users?
It's on the top right next to that.
Oh, great. Thank you so much, my dear. So upper right, sorry, I'm not in CLAW very often anymore these days. Upper right, there's cloud CMA link. So here we go. Remember, make sure you selected what you want. This is the final. You can't go back. Once you click cloud CMA, we have to go all the way through. So let's click it. Cloud CMA. Here's what it's going to do. going to bring us to a screen. Now, many of you, if you've never used Cloud CMA, you must set yourself up on Cloud CMA, okay? If you've never used it, you must set yourself up. I think I just lost my screen, sorry. Sorry about that. Everybody see me again? Sorry, guys. Didn't mean to do that. Just trying to move around the bars so you can see what I'm doing. All right. Thinks I'm logged in twice here. Shoot. Sorry, guys. I'm really sorry. Bear with me. Stand by. Thought I was logged in twice. Might be in my, oh, maybe somebody was not, one of our staff members was in my login there. Huh. Thanks for your patience, everyone. Appreciate it. While I come back in. All right. So once you printed that report, you now click the Cloud CMA link. And now we're opening up Cloud CMA. So it's taking you into the Cloud CMA program, and you should see this screen. If you do not see this screen, that means you're not set up yet, and you need to enable your Cloud CMA. You have to upload your photo, there's a whole profile. You see this little profile thing back up here on the corner? All right. If you have to set up your phone number, your email, your headshot, everything, okay? So if you haven't done that, you can do that after this class. This class is being recorded, okay? But if you see this, you are on the correct page, okay? So the name of the report is the name of the seller, okay? John and Mary Smith, whoever they are, name of the seller. Okay? Let's put those over here. All right, over here on the right is the address. We're gonna put the property address over here on the right. Watch this, guys. Now you would have already known this because you looked up the title. Watch this. It auto-populates the square footage. It shows it as a 3-bedroom, 1-bath, 1,085 square feet home. It is pulling from the assessor. Okay, so it's going to do its analysis based on this house being only 1085 square feet. I wanted to show you this because you will come across occasionally houses that are a certain size and they've added unpermitted square footage. So the MLS sheet that I gave you guys, it says subject property. This realtor misrepresented the size of the home, okay? So I just want to let you know, we're going to be comping this home based on the fact that it's 1085, but didn't we put in 14 to 1700? Yeah, we did. So we're going to stay with the comps that we had. And if you were going to override this, you can, like that. All right, but don't ever do that. I just wanted to show you that this house is not what the MLS said. So the agent, did a boo-boo on this one. So it should populate the assessor, and you should be always comping a house based on the assessor. Got it? Okay. All right. So it pulls in the square footage automatically. If you want to drive by the house and put a pretty picture there, you can do that. Have that on your desktop. You can put a cute picture of the front of their house. Okay. Got it? So name of client and address. That's all I want you to know. And if you want to put a picture, put that on there. Now we're ready to pull the listings. The ones that we selected are what's going to be coming in. There are 3 green buttons in Cloud CMA. 3. The first one is called Fetch. The second one is called Customize. And the third one is called Publish. All right, so here we go. Fetch. Go fetch. So it's going to go grab those 7 listings or 6 listings. I think I accidentally have Corbin in here, so I'll unselect that one. I don't want you to have this is the house right there. So I'm going to kick that one out. All right, so it automatically grabs all the pendings and closed. You see that? And I like to sort it by the sold price. You can sort it any way you want, doesn't matter, but you're going to reorganize it anyway. Okay. All right. If you want to uncheck one, you can. Okay. I'm going to uncheck this. I accidentally pulled this in. I don't want to pull it in. So, all right. So it pulls all of the properties. See the green check boxes? It's pulled everything in that you had chosen. Now, Cloud CMA has a cool, awesome feature to manually add listings. You see it down here? It's a little button called Add Listing. I love it. It gives you the ability to add off-market sales. Now, where in the world are you going to find the off-market sales? They're just as important as the ones that are in the MLS. Where are you going to find those? Anybody? Title report, right? Title report. So when you go to Title Pro 24/7, for those of you who know how to use it, great. For those of you who have never used it, need to get on with Serena and Mark. You cannot do business without Title Pro 24/7. It gives you a full report on every house. The square footage, when it was bought, when it was sold, anything on the property, all the mortgage documents, NODs, et cetera. It's called the title report. You need to know how to do that. Well, in the title report are a bunch of comparables that the title company has pulled for you. Many of them are going to replicate the comparables in the MLS, and some of them are also comparables that were sold off market. A person sold private party, parent to child transfer, all kinds of stuff. So in the title report, you will see all the comparables that Lawyer's Title has in there, and some of them are awesome comps, and they need to be added manually, okay? So I'm going to add this Corbin one right here, okay? Since it's the actual subject. So you just hit add listing, and if it was off the MLS, just put the address. I'm going to do this. Okay. And you have to put the word sold. And all you got to do is punch in the price it was sold for from title. And then whatever date it was sold. And again, title shows you this. If you've never seen a title report, you need to learn how to run those. We run them every single day. So a title report will show you everything about that property. And all of you need to know how to look up title reports, because you never go to a listing appointment without the title report. It says who the owner is, when they bought it, how much they bought it for, what the loan was, and all these other things. So you can add off-market listings in here, which is really awesome. And I just find it to be a very valuable tool. So I'm going to add the listing and just put the sold price. And now it's going to get calculated into these comps. Okay. All right. You see how I added it right here? I added it by hand. Okay. There it is. I'm going to uncheck it again, guys, because it is the subject property. I'm going to uncheck it. But I wanted you to know that it will not only pull in the MLS, but you can hit add listing and add all the off markets. Okay. To prove your point. All right, everybody okay with fetch listings? Do you understand? Fetch listings. Add listing if you're adding the off markets. And again, title has some really good sales that are not in the MLS, and they're very good in terms of course, the appraiser is going to look at those sales, so you need to add them as well. Okay, now we're ready for the second green button. Here it is. And it also pinpoints all the comps, which I think is great too. We're ready for green button number 2. Customize. Okay, now it's going to take us into the report customization. Once you have set up your template, you never have to play with this area again. All right. For those of you who have never used this tool, you are going to have a gigantic list of stuff right here. Gigantic. You see all this stuff on the left-hand side? The Cloud CMA people have created all these amazing pages that you do not need. You do not need them. This is for agents who work at companies that don't give them beautiful listing books, okay? It'll say stuff like, I'll stage your home. I'll get you top dollar. The importance of, it goes on and on into all the details that already exist in your listing book. So I don't want you to have all this stuff. So if you've logged in for the first time, you're going to see a gigantic list of stuff on the right-hand screen. So for example, I'm just going to throw this in here. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I'm going to go like that. Oh, that's Tom Ferry. Sorry. Here, let me just go like this. Here, watch. Boom. All right. See this thing right here? Selling your home in a tough market. I'm going to hit the minus sign, and it's going to go back over to the left. I want you guys to hit the minus sign on everything. When you go to set up your CMA template, you're going to hit the minus sign on everything except what you see in the middle of the page right now. If you want to take a picture of it with your camera phone, I want you to hit the minus sign on everything that you see except these items. Title page, map of all listings, summary of comparable properties, listings, details, photos, first dozen on one page, and sold property analysis. Do not have anything else. You do not want to have a 150-page Cloud CMA. Okay, you don't need it. Hit the minus sign on every item until you only see these. Okay. All right. Title, map, summary, listings, details, photos, first dozen, and sold property analysis. All right. Now, right here, if you've never used Cloud CMA before, you want to pick a theme. Okay, we do have a Keller Williams, Michael Lewis theme, but pick whatever color theme matches your listing book. There's tons of color themes. Pick whatever matches your book. Do not put a cover on it. No cover, because you're going to have a pretty cover. The layout is a 2-photo layout. That means it puts the first 2 pictures of the house on the first page, and then it gives the next 12 pictures on the next page. So layout is 2-photo. Leave the font as default. And right here where it says template, once you have just these pages, you don't have to do it right now. If you haven't gone through the exercise, you can go back and listen to this YouTube today. Once you have template, you click into it and you'll see upper left, the new one, 6 pages, and you just name it. My CMA. Whatever you want to call it, just name it and save it. All right, and then you choose it. The template will be My CMA. If you do this correctly, when you come in again, you find that My CMA template and it should stick. It usually takes 2 times. Cloud CMA has this little bug where you have to go in 2 times before it'll remember your template. Again, click template, make one call, pick the upper left, the first one, and then name it, okay? And you're good to go. Now I already named one My CMA, so I'm gonna do this. Name it whatever you want to name it, but that's gonna be the one you're gonna use. Sorry guys, mine has a lot of saves in it, so I'm gonna name it something else. All right, the upper left, the first one is the one you want, okay? Let me get rid of all my duplicates. See, I have all these. You shouldn't have any templates except the one that you saved, okay? All right, that's the one I saved. All right, all you have to do is click in the template, name it CMA, and you're done. It should be only 6 pages, okay? 6 sections. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, okay? All right. Theme is whatever you want it to be. Layout is 2 photos. And again, we're only doing this the first time you come in. You have to set this up. After you set this up, it's always going to save this. All right. All right, are we ready to publish? Yes, we are. So when you hit customize, you make sure it looks like this, whatever theme color you want, 2-photo layout, and your template, which is 6 pages. And now we're ready to publish. And now I'm going to hit the 3rd green button, publish. This whole process takes about 2 minutes, but I wanted to go very, very slowly. Now it's publishing the CMA. And I love it because you can email the PDF to somebody, you can mail it and spiral it and send it in a package to them to their home, or you can bring it with you if you're going on the appointment. And now we have this lovely cloud CMA. And isn't that lovely? Okay. All right. And it's in your, and it's one of the items in the chat box, and it's really pretty. So it starts with, remember that we're going to put a cover on this. It has your client's information, the map of where all the comps are, has my information, you can see. It will have your photo. It gives you the solds and the pendings. It kind of just gives you a summary. And then it goes one house at a time. You can reorder these pages. I like to use the lowest to the highest in the solds and the lowest to the highest in the pending. You see how it has that S right there? You can see that's a sold, right, for 714. We're not going into a listing presentation right now. We're just learning how to build this, okay? Then you see all the 12 photos. Then it goes to the next house, 12 photos, the next house, 12 photos. It's really nicely laid out, really nicely laid out. It goes through every single comp. And then when you get to the end, it does a rundown of all of them. It just doesn't do the math like the quick CMA does. So this sold analysis, which is the last page, it doesn't do the math the way quick CMA does. That's why we want the quick CMA. All right, everybody clear about this PDF? Now you have a finished cloud CMA, and now we're ready to put the whole thing together. All right, I'm going to get out of here, and now I'm going to go to the finished product. All right, I'm getting out of the MLS, and I'm going to give you now what the finished product looks like, which is, I'm going to restart my screen share, just one moment. I'm going to give you a new screen share. All right. Here we go. Here's the finished product. Now, I put in the chat box something called CMA top and bottom. Okay, it's a PowerPoint. It's really cool. This is the only thing you have to go and change the numbers on. So I'm going to open this PowerPoint. Hopefully in your Mac, if you have Keynote, that'll also open the PowerPoint. You guys got to keep this top and bottom. This is a really important tool in your tool belt. All right. For those of you who have heard me teach this class many, many times, building a CMA is a sandwich. Okay. CMA top and bottom is the bread. Here is the top part of the bread. Here is the bottom part of the bread. Top part of the bread, bottom part of the bread. Is everybody clear? Cloud CMA that we just generated is the meat that goes in the middle. All right. Cloud CMA that we just generated goes in between these. So here's your beautiful top and this matches your listing book. If this photo does not match your listing book, you can put any photo you want here. Okay. All right. You can do whatever you want, but this is your matching luggage. So you have your beautiful listing book and you have the beautiful CMA that matches your beautiful listing book. So you've got your luggage that matches. It's very professional. So you take the top and then the bottom. Check out the bottom. What is the bottom? The bottom is your suggested pricing. All right. So after we looked at all of that data, you need to come up with the low, the medium, and the high for this home. Okay. If you're in the mentor program, don't do it without your mentor because you're not going to go on the appointment without them. If you're not in the mentor program and you're having trouble, call me. I'll help you. So this is where you come up with these 3 pricings on this house. Now, why did I come up with this crazy three numbers? Why did I come up with this? How did I come up with 650, 675, and 715? Anybody know what these three numbers represent? So a low, medium, and high, and we don't like to use the word low with a client because they think they're shortchanging their home and it doesn't mean low. Event pricing, you can say low pricing, whatever you want to say. What this is the lowest we would price the home to get multiple offers would be 650. Remember we said the median was 672, right? So that would be a price, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, that would generate tremendous number of multiple offers. We'd probably have 25 offers on the property, and the property will go well over 700,000. It's a strategy, right? The middle number, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, this is about where the appraiser is going to come in on your home. This is kind of right where the appraiser is going to probably come in on your home, fair market. And then this top number, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you know, we don't really have any data to suggest that your house will sell this high, you know, but I wanted to show you where the high of the market was. But really, it doesn't look like if we priced it at that high number, I don't know that we'd get a lot of activity at all. The point is the high number is supposed to be a number that's not proven for their house. The middle number should be that median, somewhere around that median from the quick CMA. And that low should be a number that will generate tremendous activity to get multiple offers. There is no science to putting these numbers together. Some people do them by 100,000 each when you're in the over million market. Some people will do them by 30,000 each when you're in the under million market. There's no science to this. It's about looking at the CMA stats or the quick CMA and generating what you think would be the low. So for example, on this house, if we went back to the quick CMA, the lowest house was $617,000. The lowest price house was on Shirley Avenue. It was a 4-bedroom, 1,466 square feet, and it sold for $617. But we also had a 620 and a 660. So at the 650 number, we would have tremendous number of offers. At the 675 number, we're right down the middle of the bowling alley. And at the 715 number, there's only one comp that sold for that price. Okay, and that was a. I don't even think we included it in here. We might have. It was a house on, I think it was on Victory. So what you have to understand here is this last page, the suggested pricing, you have to have really done your homework at the beginning to understand your low, medium, and high. You will have had to stare at the pictures. You will have had to study the cloud CMA and then come up with these three numbers. That's why it takes like an hour and a half to do a good CMA, even if you've been in the business 30 years, okay? You want to do it right. Any questions about the top and the bottom, the top piece of bread and the bottom piece of bread? So this is the last page in your little spiral, okay? Now let's talk about the mustard. The quick CMA right here, this one right here, or the stats, this is the mustard, right? This is the one we were staring at forever. This is the last to the second from the bottom, okay? And then this, the actual cloud, the cloud CMA is the meat. That's the lunch meat, okay? So when you put together the whole thing, you've got the cover followed by the full cloud. Okay, so you got that cover followed by the full cloud, followed by the quick or the stats, followed by the bottom piece of bread, which is your suggested pricing. You take that, you come into the office, you spiral it all together and look what you get. Beautiful. I'm sorry for the color bleed here. You got the beautiful cover, you got the cloud, CMA. The scanner is kind of low res, so please forgive me here. Yours is going to look beautiful because it's all bound and pretty. And get to the end of all these pictures. And what do we got? Now we've got the, see, there's your quick CMA right there. There's the quick. Sorry, I'm going to go slower. There's your quick CMA. And last but not least is the bottom piece of bread, your suggested pricing. That is a professional CMA that gets results every single time. All right, the reason I put all those things in the chat box is I wanted you to understand how to make this sandwich. I'm going to stop the screen sharing for a moment. I know we ran way over, but it's kind of really important. Again, the cover, followed by Cloud CMA, followed by the quick CMA, followed by the suggested pricing. You come into the office, you use the beautiful spiral machine, you put it all together, and now you have a really amazing package. You don't have to put it in spiral. You can do it in a small 3-ring. You can do it any way you want. It's quick and easy to come in the office and spiral it together. You can do it in clear plastic report covers. You can do anything you want. But this creates the most beautiful package that matches your listing book. All right. Sorry about that noise there. Hold on. Okay. Anybody have any questions on how to put this beautiful book together? I know it's a lot of data for an hour, but it's a very important part of you sending out comparable market analyses. You cannot show up to a listing appointment with a couple of sheets of comps. That is very old school, and you are not, unless you've been in the business for 25 years and you're a big name, you're not going to be able to walk in with a couple of sheets of comps and take a listing. Even if it's your cousin or your brother-in-law or a best friend from high school, you need to come in professionally. It's really important. It's your reputation and it's your referrals, and they know that you know what you're talking about when you put together a professional package. So you've got your listing book, you've got this in total Cloud CMA package with the top and the bottom, and you've got your listing presentation, your listing contract. Those are the 3 things you come with. Now, if you're just mailing this out or emailing it, that's totally fine. If you're doing cold calling and you want to do a Cloud CMA for someone, awesome. Put it together, send it out via email, and then you don't have to put the top and bottom in there. You could just send them the comps. Totally fine. If you're going to mail it to them, I prefer you spiral it and make it professional with your business card and a cover letter. So that is the package that you show up with. And you show up professional like that, you're able to have the conversation. So in my listing mastery class, I actually record the entire listing presentation, and I talk about how to dialogue this entire thing. That's under listing mastery. So if you go back to the YouTubes in listing mastery, you will hear me do the entire listing presentation. That's going to come back again in September. I'll be teaching that. Next month, I'll be teaching absentee owners how to go after absentee owners. So I'm hoping that you were able to gather some information here so that you feel good about putting together a Cloud CMA. Please save that PowerPoint down, and I will send the Google Drive link to everybody. And under the word Cloud CMA, I will put that PowerPoint again, the top and bottom, so that you guys have that, and you can go out and make a beautiful CMA. The more of these you do, the more chances you have to take the listing. So even if a client's not ready to sell now, you just want to give them a little range of what their home is worth today, they're going to hold on to that beautiful package. They're not going to throw it away. They're going to hold on to it. And you're going to have one more person whose foot you've gotten in the door. And if you stay in touch with them through your email marketing and staying in touch via phone, you are going to get that listing.
Where's that spiler at?
I'm sorry?
Where's the spiler?
The spiral machine in the Encino office is back by the kitchen. It's right on that. And in the Sherman Oaks office, it's right on the other side of Zach. So we have a spiral machine with the materials to build those. Those are free. You just go make them. Okay.
Can I print at the office or no?
Yeah, of course you can.
Okay.
Of course you can. Of course you can. If you've got your laptop set up, you can certainly print there. Does anyone have any other questions? And don't forget to get logged in for Title Pro 24/7 if you haven't already. Cloud CMA is a great program, you guys. Make use of it. Go set up your profile in Cloud CMA. Save your template. Go practice with the house you live in. Go practice with your mom's house. Do a Cloud CMA. Get good at this, because these steps are critical to your success. I want you to go out there and get your fair share of listings, okay? All right, everybody, until next time, I'll see you next month for absentee owners. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you, Veronica.